So I don't typically like sitting down, you know, for my videos, and as you can see, I can't stop moving. I will be moving all the time, so I might just get up and walk away off the screen. But now that I posted my video on YouTube, my patent on YouTube, the cat's kind of out of the bag. That's the way I would make money. That's the way I would get insane amount of money. So I've given up on the chance that my patent will be the first patent of this kind. I have given up on the chance of making tons and tons of money. I don't expect it, but it would be nice. My channel is not very well known of, which is good. But there are people on there. So it could, just like Wuhan, just like the virus. It spread really quick, but who knows? I'm not in any rush. Okay. So I'm not completely sure where to start. So 3 years ago, right? I was psychotic. Now, I came up with a few good ideas, some that are patented now, like a DNA synthesizer. I designed one. Not very effectively and at the nano level, but I did design one. I did come up with that idea. It is now patented, and I would like very much for it to be a reality that I can have one. But as of now, I do not have one, which is weird because it was patented 2 years ago. Why is it not cheap enough for people to have? This is all beside the point. So the point is that I am attempting to be a prophet, right? That is my new, that's my job. That's my role in society. That's what I would like to do. For the next 9 years, then I want to be president. This is the beginning of my campaign. I am eligible to run in 9 years. That will be the first time I am eligible to run, unless something weird happens in 7. If something weird happens in 7 years, I'll run then. I'll attempt to get elected that year, but it's probably 9 years for me to actually be eligible, with an opening in the electoral, in the executive branch. So, what is it that makes a profit, right? Now, I'm not going to be only talking about profit stuff. This is just the introduction and to explain why I am about to talk about what I'm going to talk about later in the video, probably in the last 20 minutes. For the last 20 minutes, I will be talking about why I'm talking about it. Being a prophet. Attempting to be a prophet. So, if you look up profit at dictionary.com, right, it will have like eight requirements, right? Requirements. 4 of the 8 requirements are that you are Moses, that you are Ezekiel, and that you are, however, Muhammad and like 12 other people, right? So we can cut those out because that's dictionary.com using the noun, or defining a noun by the people who are formerly known as Prince, you know what I mean? Okay. Cool. So we can just throw those 4 definitions out the window. Because I'm never going to be those people, and I'm not those people. Okay. So, the first requirement is they claim to be a leader, right? I am claiming to be a leader. This is the beginning of my campaign for president. So, yeah. Great. I'm claiming to be a leader. The next one, as you can see, this is coffee stained. From when I dropped my coffee yesterday. I don't know if y'all saw that. No, you didn't. You were supposed to see it. I deleted that video, though, by mistake. And y'all got the video I posted a few hours ago. Which is sad, because that video I deleted was pretty good. So, the second part of definition of a prophet, a second part of the requirements I have to fulfill to emulate prophets of old, something like that. I used the word emulate because it was in the last video. Or it should have been. If I didn't mention emulate, that's a problem. I definitely didn't mention emulate. We'll talk about that in the future. Okay. So, a person who foretells what is to come is a thing. Is part of the definition of prophet. So, I'm going to give an example, right? I predicted a pathogen was going to happen, right? But I was wrong on a few fronts. One, I was like, there's nothing y'all can do unless you give me a DNA synthesizer. And the other part was that it was going to be a nihilistic or bad actor that was just going to design it and let it loose. So I was wrong on both fronts, you know. Obviously, we can do social engineering. How I didn't think of that is beyond me. Yeah, so obviously, social engineering is a very effective way of dealing with a pathogen. That's one way I was wrong. The other way I was wrong was it was just negligence that caused this virus to proliferate. Just negligence. So, yeah, that's what my fortune telling looks like. That's what me telling the future is. It's me knowing what's going to happen, but not how it's going to happen. Like, the apocalypse. That's going to happen. What it's going to look like, I have no freaking idea. And even if I did have some idea, I'd probably be wrong in many respects. Even if I was like, what I mean to say is, even if I was very well educated in the apocalyptic writings, if I was very well educated in apocalyptic writings, I'd have a more accurate opinion of what it would be. I just know from the way the universe is structured and what I've experienced in my life, including what I'm going to talk about next, I would have some opinion. This car alarm's been going off all day. It stopped, though. It usually doesn't stop. Okay. So, I think I skipped a little part there that was really interesting, but I forgot what it is, so we're just moving on. So, a prophet is a person who speaks by divine inspiration. So, it's a little different from what I think the average person would think. So, divine inspiration for me is when divine inspiration has appeared in my life in one circumstance, other than the fact that the whole world, oh wow, it's so beautiful and amazing, and it's great, it's such a beautiful person right here. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about divine inspiration in the way of an hallucination. So I believe I hallucinated divinity. Doesn't mean something from on high came down to me. It means that I hallucinated. It just means I hallucinated, right? And because of archetypes, which are basic foundations of the world, basic laws of nature, and I don't mean to say basic as in like easy to understand, because I barely understand them, but they're just they are archetypes are the invisible structure that we paste like resolved experience onto. So for example, it is archetypal to have a human apotheosize, become apotheosized. So that means it is a very common story in human history for humans to become divine, to apotheosize. That is what apotheosis is. So when I hallucinated an apotheosized human. Christ was there at the beginning of time, but he came down in human form, right? And ascended again to heaven with his human form still. So he was an archetype. Christ is an archetype that emerged in a human and ascended to heaven. None of that is like, first off, it's really interesting, but it's not super important to what I'm talking about now. That is more religious and psychological stuff that I will go into in the future. But I think I've already mentioned this. The third requirement for being a prophet is having divine inspiration. So my hallucination was divine inspiration because it was an hallucination of divinity, of Christ, of God. And it changed my outlook. It changed the way I see reality. It's part of the reason I can design an artificial intelligence, and part of the reason I can design a doctrine. I believe effectively. So, the hallucination of the divine changed my, the way I interact, changed my rules of interaction, as I went over in the last video. But that's me designing a rule of interaction. So now we come to the point, the fourth point in me being a prophet, where the rest of the video will be about, the rest of the video will be about. So, just as I designed a particle and designed its rules of interaction, I'm going to do something similar to fulfill the fourth requirement. The fourth requirement is be a spokesperson for a doctrine. So, me being a spokesperson, absolutely no problem. Me having a doctrine, that's a bit of a problem. I don't exactly want to design a doctrine. I just know I have to fulfill my destiny. Okay. So, a doctrine is the same thing as changing the rules of interaction. But it's for people. Or for my artificial intelligence, which it was actually over here where I described it in the last video. So I'm going to advocate principles that people should embody or emulate, people should emulate to change their rules of interaction so that society can change. For the better, of course. I can take that now. Cool. So, the first three I got down, right? Spokesperson for a doctrine, I got half that down. Where's your doctrine, Dylan? You may ask. I don't particularly have one. So I'm not a prophet right now. I could just give one principle, right? And I could be a spokesperson for this principle that everyone should have, and then all of a sudden I'm a prophet. Most definitely. Then I fit all the requirements. Just one principle, and I have to speak about it and just constantly be like, this is gotta be, you gotta do this principle, you gotta do this principle. That's ridiculous. I have a better solution. I need a cigarette, so I'm gonna take a break. I'm gonna end this video, I'm gonna watch it, and then I will go into the next then I will go into my doctrine. That is what I'm going to talk about next. Thanks for watching, y'all.